Welcome to TrailManners, the podcast so dedicated to mountain trails and running that they broadcast out of a 78 Volkswagen bus in the mountains. Who does that? Aric and Joel are your hosts and will bring you the trail life as you may have not heard it before. You hear about everything from gear reviews, nutrition to keep you upright and moving forward, and they'll even bring guests into the bus for conversations that you won't hear anywhere else. It's time for some running adventures on a higher elevation. The old 78 Volkswagen bus is fired up and headed to the mountains. Here are your hosts for TrailManners, proudly representing the 801 with their passion and love for the trails, Aric Manning and Joel Hatch.
Welcome to the TrailManners podcast, episode number 31. We hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend and hope you all had a chance to get out and enjoy the trails a little bit. Unfortunately, you're stuck with me today. Joel's feeling a little bit under the weather, but as they say, the show must go on. So today we're going to talk about things that are going on in the trail and ultra running community, as well as talk a little bit of music. So if this is your first time listening, then thanks for coming. The TrailManners podcast is produced every week for your enjoyment, and show notes are found at trailmanners.com. Come back often, and please feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at TrailManners. All links are in the show notes. Now let's get after it. Okay, and welcome back to another episode of the TrailManners podcast. This is your host today, Aric Manning, and unfortunately, as mentioned, Joel is a little under the weather. So we will just go ahead and you get to hear my voice for the next, probably too long. But we'll cover a few things up front, get into some meat of the show, and then just go over some random facts as we go on, or random topics. So first of all, today, as usual, we are going to start the show with my beer of choice for today. Today, it's going to be from Green Flash Brewing Company, one of my top three. It's the West Coast IPA. Looking at it now in my little pint glass, sweet color, great taste, love it. So thanks, Green Flash, for brewing such an amazing IPA. Now we'll get into it. Episode 29 with Matt Trappy. When we went over that show, we had a contest. The contest was, what would you name the movie after TrailManners? Like, what would the title be called? Like he does so many of them. And the winner gets a TrailManners visor or a TrailManners hat of their choice from our website. All you need to do is shoot me an email at manners, MANNERS, at trailmanners.com. Give me your address so I can get your prize out to you. There were some great responses. Really hard to narrow it down, but I guess one that was true to me, being a 78 Volkswagen owner, understanding it as I talked to a few people, they didn't get the title, which kind of intrigued me even more. But our winner of episode 29's podcast is Isaac Gallegos. His movie title would be called Type 2 Review. So awesome. Thank you so much, Isaac, for listening to the show. Thanks for participating in the contest. Make sure you shoot me an email so we can get your prize out to you so you can rock your TrailManners headwear one way or another. So thanks again, Isaac, and all those who participated. That was pretty fun. We'll have more contests as we go on from there. Next up, oh boy, this weekend we got a race. Joel and I will both be up at Pocatello, Idaho for the Smut race, 100K distance, Scout Mountain Ultra Trail Race. It is race directed by a good friend, awesome guy, amazing athlete, and human being, Luke Nilsson. So we're going to head up there. Hopefully we'll see some people. We're going to bring our gear up so maybe we can talk to you if you're going to be there. Maybe hit us up beforehand to make sure we say hello. Maybe get you on the show when we're finished. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish that. I think actually the Smut will be doing the 60K. So hopefully it won't take us too long to finish that course, but we'll see what happens. Tough course, beautiful one. Can't wait to head up there with Joel, see some friends, get back on there. And then also recapping our last show, episode 30. Probably one of my favorite shows for different reasons to date with Eric Johnson. Man, it really hit home for a time when I'm trying to ramp up my mileage, get some good miles in, get my training back up. And then we got a lot of emails and texts and messages saying, hey, this show was a good time. I needed it. Some great insight. One guy was like, this isn't any cutting edge new stuff, but it's so crazy when you hear it from somebody like this, as well as just taking in context. As I've mentioned in, through the different social media sites. Smile and be grateful. Simple, right? I mean, two simple little things, and couldn't be more true. More true within running, more true in life, work, as Aric mentioned, whatever it might be. We can't wait to get Aric back on the show. It was such an amazing experience just being there. And I know this is kind of a, over the air, in your ear thing, but you could just feel the enthusiasm and you could feel the passion resonating from Aric when he was talking. And I think that gripped me a little bit more, just kind of going back into how he does these things. I mean, a lot of people out there, whether you're just getting into trail running, whether you're a road runner, a marathon runner, 5K with your family, fun runs, Spartan races, all the way to the ultra distance, it takes a lot of time and effort and, commitment to do those things. And then now you think about it in your head is 1,000, miles in the Arctic. Both those by themselves are huge tasks, but, to see just what he brings from that experience, feeling that from him, huge show, great response from everybody, a lot of feed hits on that one, and just a great guy. So we'll definitely have him back on. So thank you, Aric. Thanks for all those who listened and commented and got back to us. I mean, that's what we do to make this show better, is hearing from you, what you want to hear about, who you want to see, what kind of topics you want to discuss. So thanks for that. And speaking of topics, there's been a few that have kind of come out within the last week, and two of the big hitter courses, not necessarily groundbreaking or, game changing on all levels, but just interesting. And I think, I've been mulling one of these over anyway for a few days, and that's the new Hardrock, the new Electrolyte supplement policy for 2016 for Hardrock. Now, not everybody does Hardrock. Not everybody has an interest to do Hardrock, and heck, there's a lot of you out there that might not even know what Hardrock is. But as a runner that wants to get into that's been a part of it, and just the idea of this. I'm going to read what their policy is, and then we'll kind of get into it a little bit. But the Hardrock 100 endurance run does not supply electrolyte supplement capsules, tabs, or powders for runners or pacers. There is no clear data to support the use of salt supplementation in ultra-endurance events. Overhydration is a major issue in distance exercise. Salt supplementation has not been proven to lessen the risk. A drink to thirst strategy is recommended during Hardrock. Hardrock aid stations will have a variety of salty foods. Tailwind will be available as a pre-mixed electrolyte and calorie replacement drink. And the Hardrock medical doctors are on here, Jeff Clover and Stephen Halverson. Kind of that's their thing. And so, I've had conversations with a few people since then, and it's interesting. I mean, obviously you can carry your own, so it's not, illegal or breaking the rules if you have salt tabs in your vest, your pocket, your pouch, whatever it might be. But just the whole process, I went through as a Facebook post and kind of reading some comments on it, and they're like, well, isn't Tailwind a pre-mixed electrolyte? But then they say, and calorie replacement. Now, simply put, if you put on a race, if you're the race director, the rules are yours, right? I mean, there's no governing body you have to be a part of. So you can make up rules according to what you want to do, whether it's a lottery system, whether it's no aid stations, or what you provide at aid stations, or anything you want. You can make your rules. And then it's the participant's job to decide, hey, that's a race I want to run, whether it's no headphones, right? Some big things, no poles, no pacers, anything else. So it's your job as a runner to say, yeah, I want to run that race, but I don't like the rules. Maybe I'll move on to something else. So you have choices. So just to see some of the backlash here and there, it wasn't like super heated, like really over the top, but it was just some were funny, obviously. Talking about, Tailwind's a sponsor, they're bringing money, so of course you're going to, provide that. Well, of course you would. It's your race, they're a sponsor, you provide it. It doesn't say you have to provide anything. That's your choice. But then it kind of gets into, is a salt tab a placebo effect? There's no proof that they work, but then you talk to people and say, oh my gosh, I was cramping up, I took some salt tabs, I was fine. Okay, does it work? Does it not work? Well, guess what, folks? I am no nutritionist. I'm not a scientist. And for that matter, I'm not necessarily the, sharpest tool in the shed when it comes to it. a lot of it boils down to what works for you. And if it's a placebo effect, great, right? If it works, it works. So that's really up to you to decide. But it's interesting. You see more and more races coming up with rules, whether, from our last few shows ago, drug testing at the URA 100 for the podium finishers. Okay. Well, that's your right. You can do what you want. People don't have to like it, or people can love it and they might support your race more. So at the end of the day, let's put things in perspective. We're in a social media, society, and people are going to spout off. They're going to do or say things that may or may not vibe with what you want to do or say, but it's not right or wrong. Some people are what's trolling to get things brought up. But reading this, having time to, lack of a better word, digest it, to take it in, to me, it's not a big deal, right? Salt tabs don't weigh much. If you want to use them, take your own. And realistically, that's what I do anyway, because I have found that certain brands of salt tabs make me sick. They make me nauseous. Other brands don't. So I don't want to rely on a race to have my salt. If that's what I need, or that's what I think I need, or that's what I train or race with. So I'm going to take what works for me. And the same goes for gels, right? If you're sponsored by Goo, but you're used to taking Hammer, or you're used to taking, V Fuel, or whatever it is, take what works for you. Don't get into a race and expect them to have everything under the sun. And I applaud Hardrock for at least putting it out there in advance. It's a little bit late and it's years down the road, but it's not a game changer. They're not saying you can't use this product. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I won't and will not do any research on it. I just take what's good for me or what works for me. Will I use salt tabs in the future? Absolutely. Is it a placebo effect? I don't think so, but if it is, I'll take it because it works. So curious to see what everybody out there thinks, because it says right here, they're not supplying electrolyte supplement capsules, tabs, or powders. But then you do, we do Tailwind. It's a pre-mixed, which is a powder, electrolyte, which we don't do, but it does give calorie replacement too. So 6s, right? Whatever you want to do. Anyway, kind of cool stuff. Interesting beta coming from the ultra scene and a big race, Hardrock 100. And we'll come back to Hardrock in a little bit. But the next thing, Western States, again, they make another announcement, which I'm all for. You can disagree with me on this, but Western States for this year is going cupless. So they will not be providing cups at aid stations. So you have to bring your own cup, whether it's one of those Ultra Spire collapsibles, or I don't know, I guess you could carry your own Dixie cup around if you want, but of course that's going to get smashed. And we're not talking cups that you wear for protection, okay? We're talking drinks, right? So let's make sure we're clear on that one, right? They're not going to do cups for this year. And, what their little message they put out is that saves 21,000 cups. 21,000 cups will not be used by going cupless. I saw that number and I was like, that's huge. Now that might not be big for a big marathon, New York, Boston, because there's cups all over the place, but 21,000 cups, and that's going to save them $900 just in cups. So $900, that's like half your entrance fee, right? So no, just kidding. It's obviously quite a bit more, but $900 savings, 21,000 cups that they will not be using. So kudos to Western States, right? If you need a cup at an aid station, just carry your own. Use your water bottle. I know if you want to use a bladder, you don't want to mix things, whatever. Most a lot of races are starting to go cupless. I know, Jim Skaggs at the Buffalo Run. Obviously, he's a local guy that we love and we participate in. He's cupless. I've got my little Ultra Spire collapsible cup, and I love it. I put it into my bus. I can take it hiking, backpacking, camping. It's not necessarily huge, but it serves a great purpose. As far as waste goes, I would love to tell you that I'm huge and big into, green and recycle and everything. And I am to a degree, but, I'm not over the top. And not to say I don't want to be, but I'm not an advocate or this huge spokesman that's going to come down your throat if you use a paper cup. But congratulations, Western States, for making a stand, more races will go that route. So that's a good thing. So there's two kind of big things and two big races. They'll impact people for sure and impact race strategies and what people think. But at the end of the day, it's not going to kill anybody. It's not going to ruin your day. It'd ruin your race. So I think hopefully people can get over that. Now we're going to just go into some random stuff, right? So here's something that weighs on my mind quite often, and I've been, increasing my mileage lately, probably more than I should, but, it feels good. And I've been running by myself a lot more, or I take Gunner, the gunboat captain, my little trail dog. Now that he's back off the IR, he had that neuter procedure, so he's talking to me again. Things have settled. He's healed, so he's back on the trail lightly. But when you're out on the trail, I know this is another topic that gets brought up a lot, whether it's music or no music. Do you listen to tunes? Do you not listen to tunes? To me, it's a mood thing. Sometimes I like to go out and just listen, the creeks, the rivers, the nature, especially early in the morning. It's kind of nice. And, of course, you want to pay attention to your surroundings, bikers, hikers, animals, whatever that might be in your part of the woods. But for me, I enjoy different types of playlists, right? So I'll give you an example. I have a playlist that I've been putting together for the year, and I call it my cruiser playlist, right? So it's my cruiser list. And now close your eyes. Think of yourself a beautiful morning, right? Let's get the temps down so we're not thinking heat automatically. So I'm like 60 degrees. I dig that. I don't need a jacket of any sort, just my shirt. So you're cruising, right, through some sweet single track, aspen trees, dirt. It's a single track, kind of rollers, but in and out, in through the mountains. It's a cruiser, right? So you're out. You're not pushing, too hard. You're just digging it, right? It's the day. And your eyes are still closed, by the way, so you're thinking of this. So it's just one of those days when you're feeling the flow, so to say. What kind of music do you listen to? That's the kind of music I'm looking for, right? And so here's some ideas of what I listen to, and no judging, please. I've got a preteen daughter and a 19-year-old daughter, so I listen to their music too. So here's some ideas, and I'll just ramble off some of the ones I like listening to. Ain't No Man by the Avett Brothers. Headphones by Matt Nathanson. Be Your Man by Ivan and Alosha. I'm sorry if I slaughtered that. Pretty much anything by DMB. I'm a Dave Matthews guy, and I always will be. Alive by Edwin McCain. Just Breathe by Pearl Jam. Do You, Spoon. Not Do You Spoon, because you probably do, but Do You, performed by Spoon. And then Maybe by Sick Puppies. So those are some. So if you listen to any of those or know those songs, those are the songs I'm looking for. That cruiser run mentality. Okay. Oh, I hope your eyes are open by now, especially if you're driving. But it's the in and out of trees, the shade, the rollers, the hopping through around, tree stumps and rocks, and when you're in the flow, that's the type of songs I'm talking about. So I've got a playlist called Cruiser, and that's just when I'm just digging it and I'm in it and I want to go. Okay, and I'd like that playlist not to repeat a song. My playlist probably sticks around 3 hours. I think that's probably a good length for that type of playlist. I put playlists together for my races. If it's a 50-miler, 100-miler, I'll put ones together for that. And then my other big playlist, so I've got Cruiser Run, which we just went over, kind of the ideas and the things I do. And so that's what I need help with, okay? So email me, Facebook, I don't care what it is, manners at trailmanners.com, Facebook, you got us at TrailManners. Give me some music, right? Who it's by, what the song is. Help me load my playlist. I need some fresh, new stuff. I need some new tunes to cruise with because, like I said, I'm picking up my mileage. The other playlist that I'm digging, and I just did the Temp Trail. It was a half marathon. Getting back into it. I felt good about it a little over a week ago. And the playlist I needed, right? And I need this. I call it Help. H-E-L-P, and I use an exclamation, not that it matters. It's my help playlist. So this playlist is when I need, that's right, help. So usually it's when I need to pick up the pace. Maybe I usually turn it on 5 miles from the finish, right? When you want to pick up your pace, maybe, get cruising, or maybe you're in a low spot, 100 milers, it's 3 a.m., or, you just bonked, or whatever it is. Or even maybe it's, you want a quick short run, something quick and short you want to pump out. Maybe it's something fast. So my help playlist, I would love some for this, right? So, but I'm more focused on the cruiser run, but I will take something for my help playlist. Now that one's a little all over the board too, but my big one that I'm super jonesing on right now is Go Big or Go Home by American Authors. So that came on, near the end of my half marathon trail race a few weeks ago at Timp. And I repeated that 4 times in a row because that song, I was just going gangbusters on that one. So that's one of my favorites. There's also I Will Not Bow by Breaking Benjamins. Okay, I'm going to date myself, and this might throw people for a loop. Hit That Perfect Beat by Bronxky Beat. Okay, that's got some stuff for me, so I'm going to leave it at that. Mr. Jones by Counting Crows. Come With Me Now by Congos. World's Greatest by R. Kelly. Super sexy, right? Change the World by the Young Dubliners. So those are just some ideas that's on my help playlist, right? So I've got Cruiser Run, Help, and then, of course, I have a few others for races. But help me out. Come on, give me some music. I've had a few of my buddies, a few of my friends here, some of the Apostles of Vert here for TrailManners. Give me some tunes that I'm breaking in a little bit. Some Lumineers, Ophelia, stuff like that. So reach out. Please help me out. I'm begging you to give me some new tunes, right? And don't make fun of what I'm already listening to because that's not nice, right? We don't want people that aren't nice listening to the show. So that's kind of our music segment here. So help us out. I can't wait to hear some. And you know what? I'm gonna give some shout out to those that give me some great tunes on the next show, right? The next show I'm going to shout out and say, hey, so-and-so, thanks for this one. And maybe, tell their people they need to add it to their playlist because, hey, we're a community, right? We're a community of people that help each other out. All right, next up on the randomness here with TrailManners is we did get an email a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, to say, hey, you guys, love the show. Thank you so much, by the way. Do you guys have anything coming up, or can you talk about like first-time trail runners or someone that's getting into trail running? Okay, and absolutely is the answer. We've already got 2 shows that I know of that are going to be lined up because we don't necessarily say, okay, we need a show next week. We've got a show lined up already for later in June and a July show just for dates and availability of our guests. And I'm not going to give any spoilers. But yes, we will absolutely do shows. We don't want to be just talking about ultras and hundreds because not everybody does those. Because we were all there. We all at one time had to get into trail running. Okay, I remember my first time trail running. I was not a runner. I'm a soccer guy, and I'll say it till I die. But I got into running, and a really good friend of mine, Scott Jaime, amazing person, he's like, okay, here's what you need to do to kind of get ready for your 25K coming up. And this was years ago. And I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I'm going trail running. So I found this mountain. It's pretty hard to miss. And I got up on a trail. Little did I know, it's what at the time, it is called a fire road, that they use for fire break. And, you can drive a car up and down. I thought that was a trail for me. I'm like, this is a sweet trail, right, man? And so I just started cruising, and I got back, and I said, hey, I did good today. I did 5 miles today on the trail, and my pace, I was pumped. It was 12, between 12 and 12:15, and it was silent for a minute. And he's like, nice job, real polite. And I'm like, so what's like your average pace, right, on a 5 mile? And he's like, oh, maybe like sub 7. And I'm like, okay, I hung up the phone. This is ridiculous. So, but there's nothing wrong with that. For me, it was a big accomplishment. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I found some actual trails later on that we consider trails, or I'd consider trails, some of that single track stuff. So, yeah, we will have shows getting into, how to get into trail running, what kind of things it takes. There's some great books out there, too. One that I've been reading is Where the Road Ends by Megan Hicks and Brian Powell. Real awesome people that have been in this for a long time. You probably know who they are. It's no big, secret or anything. And if you don't, for whatever reason, irunfar.com, check them out. They've got a great book. And we may or may not have some of those to be given away in a contest coming up. So stay tuned. Spoiler alert. But what I'd like you to do is, if you are one of those people, we won't name names if you don't want us to or discuss it. But if you have a specific question, shoot us an email. Message me. And that's something we can make sure we address when we talk to these people or bring it up. No question's a dumb question, and I will be the first one to say ask a million of them. To me, now I look back and go, God, it's probably a dumb question. But the people that help and the people that answer these are just good people. So if you have a question about getting into trail running, maybe it's gear, maybe it's pace, maybe it's how long or how far or how fast or how much climb or vert or whatever. Don't be afraid to ask. Shoot me some messages. We want to make sure we answer as many questions as we can. And then we'd also, with this topic, we'll probably get into something more along the lines like a Periscope, where if we have a guest on, you can chime in as we have them on board. But until we get that going, just shoot me an email, even if we have to answer it on a show solo or we have a guest on. So we definitely want to make sure we get those questions answered. Next on the randomness here at TrailManners, running shades or running sunglasses. Okay. Most people know, and if you don't, I worked for Smith Optics for about 12 years. So for 12 years, and even before that, I wore Smith. I just love Smith, and I still do, by the way. I love Smith, and I still wear them all the time. But it's kind of like you've eaten the same cereal, every day for 12 years, okay? And now you get to pick a new cereal, right? No constraints. No one tells you what you have to buy based on anything. You can pick a new cereal off the shelf and give it a try. Now, there's some guesswork there. Cereal's only a few bucks a box. We're talking shades. But what sunglasses? What shades do you use? I like to run in sunglasses a lot of time. Sometimes it's for protection, because I do wear contacts, and plus, there's twigs and branches. But, you use it for protection. And I'm a huge advocate, not just because I work at Smith, but the sun can be dangerous for us and for our eyes especially. And I know that. So what kind of sunglasses do you use? Now, I want information on this for myself personally, and I have a fat head, okay? So I'm a 7 3/4 or 7 1/8? Yeah, 7 1/4 or 7 3/8, sorry. So I have a fat head, big head, no big deal. I'm okay with it. I got a pair of glasses that were given to me. Thank you. And I've been wearing them, and I wore them twice on 2 trail runs, and I can tell you that I love them, okay? They're Julbo, and they're the Venturi, Venturi, the Venturi, and it's got and I don't know all their technology like I knew Smith Optics, but it's the zebra lens. It's kind of a yellowish tint. The glasses are a blue with kind of a neon yellow or green, some people think. Rimless on the bottom. They're lightweight. I love them. I really do. The lens is fantastic. They're lightweight, and they're big enough for my head. They're a little tighter than I would say I would get, but I will definitely wear these more often to get used to them. I've been wearing Smith, like I said, for years, and there's a Parallel Max and, just a lot of different Pivlock Max, Pivlock V90s, and different ones I wore there. I've even wore some of the style ones, some of the more vain ones a little bit, I guess. But I want to know what ones work for you, and especially if you have a big noggin, let me know. I'm your brother now, so we're big noggin buddies. So that way I can see what's going to fit, not give me a headache, not pinch too hard. But I love learning sunglasses if they fit right, and they don't fog. I know a lot of people say, every pair I wear fogs, and it's probably true. But I do know a lot of that has to do with fit, how close they are to your face, how much you sweat. I'm a hog, so I sweat bad. I get heated real quick. But yeah, I'd like to hear some information on those things. On the sunglasses. So this is a very interactive show on one end, right? And I need your interaction on the back end via, another way of communication. So I'm hoping people are listening out. So next up, I want to give a shout out and a huge thank you. And I know we've had him on the show a couple times. If you know the guy, you're lucky because he's a stud. Ty Draney. Thank you, Ty. I got his Bear 100 training plan. Okay, I'm running the Bear 100, even though their website's been down for like a month. I'm still hoping it's on. So I'm doing the Bear 100 in September. It'll be my Hardrock qualifier, my only 100 of the year. But I've been looking at his, and I've been following to a degree because I'm still getting into it. But the Bear 100 training plan. Now, I'm not a runner by trait. Okay, I ran in junior high, right? But that doesn't count. I didn't run in high school. Obviously, didn't run in college. I'm not what I would consider a classic runner. So some of like fartleks and strides and tempos and all this stuff is still foreign to me because I just go out and run, but not a lot of structure. So I've been doing some of his stuff, and man, it's increased my game. It really has. I feel solid, even though I'm building up. So I want to say, Ty, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know a few friends that are on your training 1v1, not the Bear 100, but you're coaching them directly. And I've seen huge gains in them, and not just, running and racing and that, but smiling and enjoyment and seeing the satisfaction that they're improving where they want to improve. And to me, that's bigger, right? I mean, that's why we do this. And so I've had the fortunate fortune of running with them and then talking to them, and just to see the look on their face. Yeah, some of them they talk about, oh my God, I got to do this tomorrow, or whatever. But man, when they're done, they glow. A couple of them had a race a few weeks ago. I don't know if they necessarily call them PRs, but they hit time goals or they did better than they thought. And it's just awesome. So, if you have any, and I'll recommend Ty to anybody, right? We've had him on the show. Go back and listen to those shows. But TyDraneyEndurance.com has the information. He's got packages on there, or you can give him a call, email him to see if he might be the right person for you to kind of, and again, it's not just about getting a better time or doing better. I mean, that's a goal. But for me, I'm enjoying myself much more. My run doesn't seem as hard or difficult, or even I feel stronger, right? And I think that's just improving in that psyche in your head that makes you run or feel better, because I just feel great. So thank you, Ty. Huge shout out to him. And am I pumping his coaching services? Absolutely. Is he paying me to do it? Absolutely not. But he's a solid guy. Next up, Randomness, right? Hardrock. We're back, okay? I am fixated on it right now. Like, I can't shake it. Took an ice bath the other day. Watched 3 Hardrock little teasers on YouTube. We have some on our channel, on the TrailManners YouTube channel, that we're building up, and we're getting there, people. We're getting there. But Hardrock, I'm totally fixated. I need to get down there. I'm racing the weekend before, okay, a long distance, so it's not necessarily I'm going down there just to run, because I might be a little tired, but I got to be there. I got to be in Silverton. I got to be in the San Juans, because it's a beautiful place. I've been there a few times. It's amazing, and the atmosphere at Hardrock is second to none. And I know there's other ones and the big ones and everything else, but it's just a different crowd, and that's my crowd, right? So I want to get down there, so I'm trying to figure that out. And basically, it's just I'm fixated on it. I can't get enough of it. So that's really big, because a week before, that's my big decision. So I have Smut coming up, then the Bryce 50, and then coming to my next race. Okay, so I'm registered for the Capitol Reef 50. Okay, it's near Boulder, Utah. It's the 50-mile, gorgeous course. I haven't been on it, but you get up to some plateaus, you get up to 11,000 feet, alpine lakes, there's some red rock in the area. I've heard a ton about it. Okay, I have a brother-in-law that lives down in Boulder. Shout out to Rod, my brother-in-law. So that's what I'm registered for, but I just can't necessarily sleep at night, because there's the Beaverhead 100K, and Joel's headed up to the Beaverhead 100K. I love Montana, okay? And so the Beaverhead is on the Continental Divide, which is iconic, and Idaho-Montana border-ish, Salmon, Idaho, Dillon, Montana. So I'm still trying to make that decision, okay? I know it's my birthday, so it's my treat to me. Do I stick a little bit closer to home? Capitol Reef, Matt Gunn, is going to put on a great race. He always does with Ultra Adventures. Or maybe try something new, right? Because Bryce 100 or Bryce 50 is Ultra Adventures. So that's where I'm kind of stuck, right? So I don't know. Hopefully I'll make my decision sooner than later. Distance-wise, not a huge thing. 50-mile at Capitol Reef to 100K at Beaverhead. So it's not like huge difference. It's not like it's going to change my training any, but it's getting closer, so I need to make that final decision. But luckily, at least in one. And, going up with Joel Beaverhead 100K, we could probably do a show even. So, I got to throw that in there. And now a few shout-outs before we do some closing here. I definitely have to give a shout-out to Kathy Brimley from Salt Lake area. She was our first visor buyer. So she was the first one to buy one of the TrailManners Boco visors, which I run in every single time I run right now. I'm infatuated with it. Not that I don't love my trucker, because I love my trucker. I wear that all the time. But running-wise, I've been using my visor. It's just sexy. I mean, if you flip it around on the band, so the band's facing the front, it looks like an old-school headband. So like the 70s, like the 70s striped ones almost. That's what it looks like when it's coming at you. So kind of been rocking that a little bit. So I'm really digging the new visor. But Kathy, thank you for being there. And you've been supporting, with some TrailManners gear. So thank you so much. And then another one that I'm digging right now. We're trying to really pump Instagram and getting into the hashtag game. I'm not good at it, but I'm getting there, right? I needed some coaching, but I'm getting there. Brad Sween has been tagging some of his photos, hashtag now go get it, and I dig it, right? Because I've been using it too. That's kind of how we end our show is now go get it. So he's been hashtagging now go get it, and that gets me going because Brad's posting some sweet photos, some peaks, some cool things, but just seeing that out there, hashtag now go get it, digging it. Thanks, Brad. Keep it up. I'd love to see more of those, by the way. But that's pretty much it. I mean, that's kind of a one-sided show. I apologize. You had to listen to me for the last 30 minutes or so. Joel will be back. He's just a little under the weather right now, and he's been training hard, so I know his body might be a little tired too, so he's fighting it off. But, he's going to have a big year. I'm excited. I can say that because he's not here, so it's easy. He won't, shut me down or make me be quiet because he can't, right? This is recorded. So I miss you, Joel. It's hard to do without you, and I'm sure the fans I apologize, fans. The listeners, how's that? The listeners probably miss you too. So it's not so one-sided in hearing me the whole time. So that's it for today's show. I can't thank everybody enough. Me and Joel are so appreciative of the support we get. You guys, the people that listen and message us and follow us on these social media sites and just pump us up in a way. You make us, you inspire us to do better. You want us to, be more here on this end and bring you the shows you deserve and the guests you deserve. And now we're getting more requests for guests, which is fantastic. We got, like I said, some great shows lined up on some dates coming up. We're going to be at Smut again this coming weekend, which is, the June 4th, whatever that Saturday is this weekend. So you're listening to this on a Tuesday. It's not Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but the Saturday, okay, in Pocatello. So if you're going to be there, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you. Maybe we get you on the show because we're going to be there, probably dragging ass a little bit. And maybe if you want to, maybe you could bring us your beverage of choice. We like to try new things. Your beverage, which I'm talking about beers, obviously. So don't bring me an iced tea or a Rockstar or something like that. I'm not into those. So anyway, again, recapping. Give me some music, right? Give me some cruiser run music, even some help music. Load me up. I don't want to have to keep searching. It takes too long. I'd rather go off what you guys listen to. Also, if you have any, comments or opinions on the Hardrock Salt tab, Western States, if you got an opinion on that, it's all right. It's cupless. That's just the way it's going to be. We don't, say cupless in hockey or baseball necessarily, but, cupless here is good. Let us know. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear what you got to say, and we'd love to just connect. We love connecting with our listeners out there because, obviously we wouldn't be doing this if you guys if nobody was listening to it. To date, we've got over 78,000, listens since, I don't know, what's this, episode 31. I'm pretty happy about that, right? This is why we do it. We enjoy it. We have fun. I'm not going to go on any longer, but I want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in. Next week, we'll have another show. Joel will be back, and there'll probably be some stuff up at Pocatello at Scout Mountain Ultra with Mr. Luke Nilsson. So have a great week. If you're running, racing, or just plain training, just enjoy it, right? Let's throw in some cruiser run music and just get after it, right? Have a great week, and we will be back. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to the TrailManners podcast. We sure do appreciate you taking the time to join us, and thank you all so much for your support. We'd love to hear your feedback on some music, also the topics we discussed with Western and Hardrock and the various other ones we covered today. We also would like to encourage you all to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at TrailManners, or again, swing by our website at TrailManners.com. There you can check out all the TrailManners gear that's out, from our Boco visors, hats, to our tech tees. On the contact page, you can let us know what you want to see, who you want to hear, or even if you want to be on the show. So until next time, this is Aric Manning reminding you, you don't get what you wish for, you get what you work for. Now go get it.